101, we're Group 10, led by Elice Wu, Anna Fuller, Benjamin Kovach, and Scott Chappell. We decided to do our 405 project on Camp Kesem, UNC. It is a national, or it's affiliate of the national organization Camp Kesem, which provides a summer-long camp for kids who are unfortunately touched by a parent's cancer.
Scott and I have been involved with this organization while on campus here at UNC and identified a few organizational behavior problems that we thought we could address. Before we do that, let's go into a little bit about what the organization is.
If there's one thing we really need, it's to be able to know that we're not alone, that everyone has had a rough time, and especially here, our rough time has been cancer.
Cancer can take the hair off of our heads. Cancer can make us thin. Cancer can confine us to a bed and destroy our bodies. But there are two things that I think cancer will never be able to touch on anybody. That first being your capacity to receive love. Take the love that's given to you from other people. And second, your ability to give love.
We have identified three main organizational problems within Camp Kesem's organizational structure. Members of the general body feel that they lack some degree of autonomy within their roles due to the current directors. The Camp Kesem team lacks cohesiveness and communication, which is demonstrated through varying viewpoints of the organization and how things are going. Motivation to fundraise and be actively involved is lacking due to lenient deadlines, lack of incentivization, and ambiguous expectations.
Just like at our Sunday meetings, when exec meets, we have one director in particular who like everyone wants to be like on their laptops or on their phones, like doing stuff, usually doing stuff related to Kesem, and he feels very strongly like that we need to put this stuff away, we need to be focused. He keeps everyone on track as if we were, I want to say, like middle schoolers, and so that's just like a very common example where it's like the directors versus us. But I guess on a larger scale, there's a lot of times we've had like bigger projects where there's been disagreements. Me and my partner worked on an alumni fundraising campaign, and we weren't really like, our input wasn't really asked, and like we really weren't taking a lot into account. We were just kind of told to do things. It just made us more apathetic towards the whole fundraising campaign as a whole. We did the bare minimum because we were like forced to do this rather than like being brought on and really communicated well with what we're doing.
Leaders can be categorized as incompetent jerks who are desperately avoided, competent jerks who are mostly avoided, lovable fools who are mildly wanted, and lovable stars who are desperately wanted. Mainly, we want to increase likability and competence for a higher referent power to ultimately become that coveted lovable star.
So how can this happen? Right now, hard influence tactics are being used, such as fundraising deadlines and confrontational encounters. However, soft influence tactics are the way to go. We recommend ingratiating and more consultation with the Camp Kesem team to promote participation and increase autonomy. The directors should frequently consult with body members on an individual basis and be intentional in their actions in order to gain the favor and trust of others.
In order to increase personal power, the directors should focus on developing referent power. The director should embody charisma and show genuine interest in the team. They can do this by 1. Increasing their information and social network in order to increase social capital. 2. Walk the floor to gauge ideas during meetings and be open to suggestions. And finally, 3. Send out a monthly Google form to gauge teams' social climate, interconnectedness, and accountability. A lack of autonomy from those below the directors is powerlessness that can lead to corruption within an organization. Therefore, leadership style is a critical element to ensuring success of the Camp Kesem team.
So we probably should, but we just don't. Like, we all could easily collaborate a lot more. Like, it's not like they have a specialty involved in, handling people and getting new recruits, whereas I have a specialty in multimedia design or anything. Like, that's just not true. I don't know what I'm doing. I run an Instagram account. Like, if everyone could just bounce ideas off of each other and it wasn't just on two people, it would probably make things a lot easier for something as big as creating a point system and then implementing that. But in terms of like what we actually do now, if someone like needs a flyer, they'll come to us and then we'll make a flyer for them, and then that's pretty much it.
It's evident from talking with members of the Camp Kesem exec board that they are missing potentially the most important team property, cohesiveness, and that there seems to be a large communication gap between the directors and the members of the exec board.
We learned in class that cohesiveness is the glue that holds the team together.
and it really allows the teams to reap all the benefits of collaboration, such as integrating knowledge and skills, utilizing multiple perspectives, and facilitating participation of individual members of the team.
Absolutely. This group seems to be only a team by name. There's very little cross-functional collaboration, and members of the exec board seem only concerned about their individual achievements rather than the good of the team.
I think spending time together is one of the best ways that this team can develop this cohesiveness. I think exec board outings centered around fun activities and away from work can really bring this team together.
Absolutely. I also think that maybe implementing a hybrid reward structure where you reward both individual achievements as well as group achievements could really help individual coordinators accomplish group tasks.
I think both of those are great. Also, we have to consider the communication problems that are having right now. The director is using the richest form of communication right now of face-to-face talk, but there's still being a breakdown between the sender and receiver regarding the actual content of the message, and we need to find a way to improve that.
Yeah, I think one of the best ways to solve this problem is eliciting feedback along the communication channel. That way we can cut out a lot of that noise that's surrounding the actual message and just make sure everybody's on the same page.
Yeah, I agree with that. Feedback ensures that the recipient is grasping the message fully, and it also puts the sender in the listening position, rather than solely dictating what's being said. And this could really enrich the communication among the entire group.
There's some people that love fundraising, and they'll go out and fundraise like thousands and thousands of dollars on their own, and they get their own intrinsic satisfaction of it, and they'll get like a T-shirt or something. But it's only like such a marginal reward, like it's just like such a marginal benefit for the amount of effort they're putting in. So I feel like it's a really self-rewarding process. But I'm not a huge fan of fundraising, I'm gonna have the same outcome as a lot of other people because I'll just fundraise at the end pretty last minute. I would say the same kind of works with exec too. There's definitely some people that are a lot more go-getters and a lot more just like committed to what they do for certain things, and others who are less motivated and put less effort. But I feel like the outcome's kind of the same. I would say there's not a lot of extra recognition, extra reward.
They try to motivate us by setting deadlines, I guess, but...
So do you feel like very incentivized to do your role, or?
Not at all. I feel zero incentive to do my job. We tried to do a point system for incentivizing counselors to do things, and that just never happened.
In the chart above, we listed some performance indicators to measure the strength of the EPO model for members of Camp Kesem. As you can see, there exists a strong connection between effort and performance. However, the link between performance and outcome is much weaker.
How it's supposed to be is if you fundraise $500 or more personally, you get to go to camp as your reward. However, right now, if you fundraise less than $500, you still get to go to camp, which shows that the performance to outcome link is not being used effectively. We have suggested a 3-step solution to have a positive impact on Camp Kesem. First of all, we want to get group input on the problem. By explaining the why and eliciting feedback from the group members, we will be able to ensure cooperation and maximum buy-in to our solution. Secondly, we will implement goals. We must make it clear that fundraising is an absolute requirement and not performing will not be tolerated. However, we will also provide alternative ways to reach this goal for group members that may not have the same network or resources. But the point is, people cannot be getting the free ride that they're getting now to go to camp without contributing any fundraising efforts to the organization. And lastly, we must enforce these policies. While there may be some bumps in the road as we implement it at first, with counselors maybe not fundraising and not going to camp, we think that overall this will have a great effect on the organization as counselors understand what is truly required.
Furthermore, members see very little value in the outcome of the performance indicators. Listed here are a couple recommendations we have to increase the perceived value of the outcome. To touch on the most important point, as it currently stands, members only receive a $10 deduction off their fundraising goal of $500 for bringing in 5 sponsors. We propose that Camp Kesem increases the reward to 10%, as this will incentivize more members to bring in valuable sponsors.
We believe that these steps in conjunction will increase counselor buy-in and overall fundraising for the organization moving forward to the future.